The Central Arctic Ocean is not a place that many people understand.
It's massive, it's unforgiving, it can be very volatile.
It is remote, it is harsh, there's no infrastructure around.
The charismatic feature there is sea ice. It is the barrier that changes the way sunlight penetrates ice and into the upper ocean, which is where all those little organisms are living. And those little organisms are the food for fish, that are then the food for seals, that are then the food for polar bears and whales.
The Central Arctic Ocean is connected to the rest of the world in many ways. One of them is water flow. The ice coming out of the Central Arctic Ocean then melts in the North Atlantic, and this helps drive circulation of the world's oceans.
If you think about all of the ice around the North Pole as this refrigeration unit for the planet, then what you can imagine is that the loss of that sea ice has implications for all of us.
My village is right on the ocean, at the furthest northwestern point on the American mainland. Our elders have said that our people settled there because there was so much food.
We depend on the oceans. We share the same sea mammals and fish. There's no boundaries in the water.
The weather systems in the region we've noticed are much more massive, much more wider.
These past 10 years that we weren't even able to safely go out on the ice on the ocean side.
The ice rots. When it moves north, it doesn't come back as often, and so hunters are having to go further out to hunt, which makes it more dangerous for them.
These extreme weather events are caused by the loss and retreat of ice and warming oceans. These breakouts of the polar vortex, the change in the variation of the jet stream across North America and into Central Europe, those are all related to how much ice is in the Central Arctic Ocean.
We just need to start to learn more about what's there.
When it comes to knowledge systems, science is fairly new. It's only been around for hundreds of years, where our indigenous knowledge systems have been around for time immemorial.
Indigenous knowledge, or is not one thing. It's kind of everything that makes us who we are.
It was all saved by story from elders to children. It's telling you something, how to prepare for tomorrow.
Research in the Arctic is a lot faster and more productive with Indigenous peoples and Indigenous knowledge involved. There are a lot of resources on the ground that can be tapped into if they take the right approaches to building the relationships with our people. Bringing Indigenous knowledge and science together, you open up the door for new knowledge.
There is also interest in this region in other things like commercial shipping, potentially deep sea mining. We're a very long way away from understanding that ecosystem well enough to manage any of those kind of activities effectively. The only sensible approach is to be very, very cautious, to minimize the effects of human activity. So the Central Arctic Ocean Fisheries Agreement is a great example.
We agree that we would take a precautionary approach that was science-based.
The agreement is something that we absolutely needed.
The Central Arctic Ocean Fisheries Agreement is a success story. It allows for the co-production of knowledge of both science and research and Indigenous knowledge to come together so that the best of both worlds can help to design what industry will look like.
That marriage is helping us forge what I think is going to be a new paradigm for the way fisheries are looked at, maybe around the world, but certainly in the Arctic.
Science should be open. It should be something that we can bring everyone into. The Indigenous communities and knowledge holders who have lived all around the Arctic for thousands and thousands of years, who have been not studying, but being a part of this really amazing ecosystem. The best solutions come from bringing the best minds together.
There was no way that Inuit or other indigenous people, for that matter, would have survived if they did not have community-minded approach towards families, harvesting, supporting one another, raising children together. I believe there's a lesson to be learned there for the rest of the world. This is one world, and we all need to take care of it.